volunteers and without the financial support of a lot of great individuals and businesses within our community. Some foundations that are based right here in Salina have been tremendously supportive of us from the get-go. And as we got things going in those first couple of years, you could sense the momentum going, and more people heard about it. And usually all we had to do was get them to come to an event. And I don't remember if it was you or Nancy Kellerman or who it was at the chamber that got the idea of videotaping during one of the fairs. And when we videotaped it the first time, and we were able to then get that out to either businesses or civic organizations or whatever and show them actually what happened and the excitement and the joy on these young kids' faces. Because for many of them, it resonated with me that you might have a young person maybe going into 4th, 5th, 6th grade and has never had a new box of crayons or has never had brand new scissors to take to school that first day. And some of the things that I took for granted growing up, not every young person gets to experience that. And so where it really resonates with me is just knowing that each year we're going to have approximately 15 to 1,800 young people start their school year off on the right foot. And again, I'm happy to be married to a third grade teacher here in town. And so I've heard stories that not all the kids have that. And sometimes we'll have young family or young children move to our community after the start of school. And they've not only are they acclimating themselves to a new school and new sets of friends and things, but then also not to have the supplies that they need really, breaks my heart. And so I just love that that's truly what our mission is. The fact that it's grown and we offer physicals and we offer some dental checks and we've offered vision checks in the past, and it's a means for us to be able to have our social services be able to get their mission and their story out in front of a captive audience. Is awesome that the fair has grown, but at the core of it has been those school supplies. And ironically, through all this talk about the COVID as we're planning for the 2020 back to school fair, it has resonated with me personally. I don't know about you, but with me, it has kind of taken me back to those first couple of years where that was really the focal point. And that's, with all the other things going on, our main goal right now is to see if we can come up with those supplies and get them in the hands of the kids that need them.
Right, and we know there's a great need in Saline County. It's for Saline County kids if they go to school in Saline County or live in Saline County. So we know there are rural schools, there are private schools, and some kids vice versa if they're in or out of the county. So to know that opportunity is great. Some of the numbers, 3,000, 4,000 in need. The services for the kids in previous years, it's been free and reduced lunches. And we're still negotiating, looking at how we can support as many kids as we possibly can support. So fundraising is a big thing, and so that's why we had invited today Darren Newshafer. He knows the ins and outs of this and has helped over the years with the Saline County Back to School Fair. Anything else that you want to add about the event or things that we've done or needs for 2020?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity again, Dana, to come and chat about something that I'm passionate about. And we're happy to announce that we are going to have a back to school fair in 2020, even though the school year may or may not look differently. I mean, we're kind of going into uncharted waters here. We know the last school year didn't end as any of us anticipated it in, so we're hopeful that the new school year starts out more traditional, but that's yet to be seen. The key for us, though, is that whether it's virtually or in the classroom or a combination of both or whatever happens, there's going to be some kiddos out there in our community that need school supplies to be able to help them get through and get their education year started off on the right foot. So we're going to be out there actively raising some funds. We are thankful to our partner, the Greater Salina Community Foundation, that has partnered with us now for basically about the last decade. And they've been a great partner serving as our fiscal agent because, as I mentioned, we're not a formal organization. We are literally a kitchen table full of people that get together with this mission and try to make it happen. And so having them in our corner to help us with the fiscal side of things has been a huge benefit for us. And we're going to be out there shaking trees and scurrying under rocks and trying to find some funds. And we know, the economy, things are a lot in turmoil right now, and we anticipate it might be a little tougher. But if you feel the calling to be able to give to the Saline County Back to School Fair, we would appreciate any and all contributions that you might be able to provide.
Yeah, it's totally run by volunteers for the Saline County Back to School Fair. So your donation definitely goes to the basic school supplies. So I want to thank Darren for joining us today on Strictly Salina. I'm Brenda Gutierrez from the Salina Area United Way. Have a great day. starts a program just for you from the Salina Media Connection. People from the Salina community are getting together for a program where they'll be telling stories, dancing, singing, all kinds of fun stuff. And because it is just for you, we're calling it the Kids Connection. It's going to be on every morning at 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. It's about arts, health, wellness, and education. Like I said, lots of fun stuff you'll want to see. Again, it's on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., the Kids Connection, just for you. Come on, join in. I know you'll have fun.
So these guys are one of my favorite creepy crawlies to introduce to people. If people are brave enough to have them walk across the backs of their hands, then I certainly encourage it because it's actually just like a little tiny tickle on the back, and when they're picked up from your hand, it's just a gentle Velcro that gets picked up. And so it's pretty cool in that nature. Another one of their really cool adaptations is they actually can curl into a very tight spiral, and any predators that would try to get to them are going to leave them alone because they don't want the challenge of trying to get through that hard exoskeleton. The other one is they can actually secrete a foul-tasting liquid out of their spores. Now, I don't know if you guys can see them or not. They're pretty tiny, but sometimes on some of them you can. You can't really see on this guy. You can sometimes see their spiracles on the side. And what the spiracles are is they actually can breathe through their pores on the side. So they not only breathe through their mouth, but they also breathe through their sides. So it's very important for them to stay clean. So they have actually a partnership with little mites that would live on them in the African rainforest, and that helps them stay clean, and they provide a food for the mites, and the mites don't harm them in the rainforest. Now these guys actually molt. So these here are pieces of a molt. They typically molt in one piece, but these are just broken apart from having them in a box that we use for these guys. But they actually molt within 12 hours of being hatched from an egg. And they'll molt about 7 to 10 times before they reach adulthood. Now we can try to measure this guy here if he stays still long enough. See if he'll let me measure him. Here's the end of the knee. About, give or take, about 6 inches. Now that seems like a really big millipede, but they can actually get to the full size of a ruler, which is 12 inches, even some of them up to 15 inches, which is just a little bit longer than a ruler. So they can get really big, and they can get as big around as your thumb. Now millipede means 1,000 legs, but these guys typically have anywhere between 300 and 400, sometimes if they're really large, up to 750 legs. Now, I actually haven't stopped to count all of his legs, and if you guys want, I encourage you to try to count. So they have, if you can count these segments on these guys, they have 4 legs per segment. Now, the segment is actually these little ridges in between. Each one of those is considered a segment. So he has 4 legs for each one of those little segments. So just in between there is considered a segment. So if you guys have any other questions that I may not have told you about our friends here, the African giant millipede, then I encourage you to comment below. We'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
So glad you could join us. Keep watching. There's lots more. Hello again. Welcome back to Bringing the Zoo to You from the Rolling Hills Zoo. My name is Nick. I'm one of our grade 8 keepers, and today we'll be talking about Sumatran orangutans. So this is Mango. Mango is a 28-year-old Sumatran orangutan, and he's been here at Rolling Hills Zoo for just about 2 years now. He came to us from Miami, Florida. Sumatran orangutans are one of 3 species of orangutan. Those species being the Sumatrans, the Borneans, and the Tapanuli orangutans. Sumatran orangutans and Tapanuli orangutans are found on the island of Sumatra, whereas Borneans are found on the island of Borneo. The name, the word orangutan, actually comes from 2 words, orang, meaning people, and hutan, meaning forest. So their name means people of the forest. They are one of 4 species of great apes, those being the orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees and bonobos. And they are often referred to as thinkers of the jungle because they are very methodical with everything they do. Mango, one of his favorite things to do is to do some touring like we saw with the chimpanzees. And he thinks about how he's going to do it before he even does it. And it's very interesting to watch him when he does that. Right now, we've given him his food in a number of different things. He's got a soda bottle there we've shoved some of his food in. That makes him kind of dig it out to decide what he wants to eat first. It looks like he's taken all the lettuce out, and he's going to go and decide what he wants to eat out of that first. And that's very common. In the wild, they would actually use their mouths to put a lot of food in those mouths, and then they would carry it off, and they would eat that kind of in a more leisurely way rather than eating it as they go. In the wild, they would eat a lot of fruit, primarily. Sumatra orangutans being more fruitivorous than the other species of orangutan. But they also eat one of the things that they do to get insects is that tooling behavior that we talked about in the last video with the chimpanzees. They use sticks to get ants, and they also use sticks to get honey as well. And they'll spray those edges so they can collect more at one time, and they'll suck all that off of the stick. Orangutans are the largest arboreal mammal in the world, meaning that they live in the trees. So those long arms that they have help them to climb around and to swing in the trees. And they reach about 8 feet from fingertip to fingertip. Another thing you might notice about Mango is he has a very wide face, and that is something that is very characteristic of male orangutans. The male orangutans grow these large pads on their cheeks called flanges, and they're not only a way to determine male from female, but they also are for protection when they come in contact with another male. Orangutans are a solitary/social mammal. They, for the majority of the time, are solitary, and then when they come in contact with another, it is generally only for territorial reasons and for breeding, other than seeing a mother with her young. So the males use those large flanges as protection when they do get into a conflict with another male, because one of the ways that they decide territorial things is they will fight each other on the flanges. Those are just a lot of fat in them, and they help to protect them from any injuries. One of the things you may see Mango doing when you come out to the zoo is he loves to build nests. He builds very large nests, and they do that in the wild as well. They'll bend branches in the wild to make large nests that they'll sleep on. And Mango is very interesting to watch. He's very good at making nests. He makes very large nests, about twice the size of himself. So it's one of the fun things you get to see him do when you come to the zoo. The other thing you might see him doing is covering up. He has a large barrel that he likes to use, or he'll use a box or a sheet sometimes. And that's actually a good example of him using that large enough to carry stuff off, as we were talking about earlier. So it's good to see that. But he uses these things to cover himself up, and they'll actually do that in the wild as well. They'll use large leaves to cover themselves from rain, as well as to kind of camouflage in the forest. They use those to cover themselves up, like I said, for rain, and they'll also use them to, as I've actually just learned myself, to wipe their hands, to clean themselves, to wipe their hands and their face, and they've eaten some food. They'll clean themselves with leaves. There's another instance of tool use in orangutans. And it looks like Mango has settled down into where he usually builds his nest out in the yard, and he's going to finish his lunch there and over there and probably rest up for a little bit, which is common after doing some eating. They'll rest for a little bit in the wild as well. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to comment on this video. And I want to thank you again for coming out and watching Bringing the Zoo to You today. Thank
he likes to do during this time of social distancing. He recorded it at Lakewood Park. Did you know that Lakewood Park nestles right up to the Smoky Hill River channel? And someday, when the river work is done, the Smoky Hill River will once again flow right by Lakewood Park? So cool! Okay. So, in Mr. Great Blue Heron's first clip, you're going to see Mr. Heron looking for a light snack of berries in the grass. Herons eat almost anything they can get in their mouths, from big fish to small bugs and everything in between. Kind of like me, but my mouth isn't quite so big. So let's check in with Mr. Heron. Yum! I love bugs too. I wonder what kind he had. Oh, okay. In the next clip, Heron wanted to show you where he likes to nap. Herons nest in trees and along the riverbank. Well, this isn't his main nest, but he does like to take breaks here. Let's see. Oh, that looks rather cozy. In the next clip, Mr. Heron said he was watching the wildlife, especially some teeny fish that caught his attention. Let's see. Oh, it's so adorable and tasty. But hold up. Did you see the minnow in the lower left-hand corner jump over that stick? And then the one behind it? Okay, I'm going to show you again. Just watch. I mean, what? Let's see it again. Wow! Who knew? Oh, okay, back to Heron. So in this next one, Mr. Heron is hanging out and doing some pruning. Mr. Heron said while he was pruning, another heron flew by. He said he was checking to see if they were sticking around. Herons fiercely defend their territory from intruders. Looks like the other heron moved on. Well, the last clip Mr. Heron wants to leave with us is him sitting by the lake, enjoying this evening sunshine. That was nice. I like to do that too. I just want to just sit and enjoy the sounds and the sights of water. So nice. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Great Blue Heron, for sharing a bit of your world with us. With all this keeping away from each other, it's important to remember to do things you like, just to renew yourself. How about you? You out there? What simple things do you like to do? Well, I guess that's it for today. On behalf
rockin' with the zoo, Kalamazoo, jamming on a tune that you can dance to. Hip the zoo.
Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to Jammin' Randy TV. This is episode 7. We're going to learn how to make some kazoos today. First of all, does everybody know what a kazoo is? This is one of them that I use when I go out and do my shows. I have a few kazoo songs that I've written, and I just love playing kazoo. So here's what a kazoo sounds like. All you have to do, you don't blow into it. You take the larger end, and you're going to hum into it. They're kind of fun to play. Again, like I said, all you do is hum like this. Everybody try humming with me. And the louder you hum, the louder your sound is. The softer you hum, the softer your sound gets. Okay, so let's learn how to make our own homemade kazoo. Because if you don't have one that you bought like this, then we're going to have to find a way to make one. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a toilet paper roll like this, empty one, of course, and we're going to make this into a kazoo today. A lot of people will just take it and make it out of this. What I like to do is I like to put some duct tape over it. I like to find some colored duct tape or something kind of cool design, put it around there. I have some red duct tape I'm going to use today, and what this does is this makes the cardboard of the toilet paper roll a little stronger, and it lasts a little bit better that way. Plus it looks cool. So I'm going to take a few rolls of this, a few strips of duct tape, and we're going to wrap this around here. Just like so. Doesn't take a lot, just a few strips of duct tape. And then once we're done with this, it's going to look really cool. You can find all kinds of different colored duct tape at the store. Put one more down the middle. And we'll have a cool looking roll here for us to use to make our own homemade kazoo. All right. Now, that looks a little bit better than just a cardboard tube, doesn't it? If you don't have a toilet paper roll, old one like this, you can take like a paper towel one, maybe cut it in half, because that might be kind of long to make it into a kazoo. But there's a couple different ways you can use those. All right. So the next thing I like to do is I like to take a paper hole punch, and on the side that we're not going to, on one of the sides, put a hole in it. That way it lets a little bit of air escape. So I punch a hole in there with a hole punch. And then we're going to take some wax paper like this. Anything that kind of makes a crinkly sound like that should work. And we put that on the end opposite of the hole we just put a punch in. And we wrap that around there like that. Kind of put it up there pretty tight, all the way around there. Then we're going to take a rubber band, just like this, and we're going to wrap that rubber band around there a couple times to hold that in there real tight. Let's see if I can do this. Let's make it a little bit tighter so that it comes undone. We'll do it one more time around, about 3 times, depending on the size of your rubber band. Straighten this out just a little bit. You want to make sure that the end of it is kind of tight against the roll. And then the side that has a little hole punch in there that you just hole punch, we're going to hum into this end of it. You can just talk like this. See, that's kind of cool. You can just talk into it and you can go up to people and say, hello, how are you? And it changes your voice. Now, if you want to use it as a musical instrument, then you just hum into it like that. And when you change your pitch of your voice,
everybody. It's Miss Heather. I am the Youth Program Coordinator here at Salina Public Library, and welcome to Online Story Time. All right, kids, we're going to jump right in with our hello song, and I am going to teach you a new hello song, and it is called Hello Friends. And the fun thing about this song is we get to do it in sign language. So I'm going to teach you a couple of signs before we get started. So our first sign that I'm going to teach you is hello. It's really simple. Hello. Can you do that with me? Hello. Good job. All right, and the next one is friends. So we're going to make a friend here. Hold your finger like that. And we're going to make a friend here and hold our finger like this. And we're going to have them give each other a hug, and that is friends. Good job. All right, and the next one is time. I bet you can guess what we would do for that. We're going to point to our wrist like we have a watch on. So time. And then the next one is say, and this is say. All right, so the song goes like this. Are you ready? All right. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Yay. Good job. That was awesome. All right. Well, the next thing I'm going to have you do is at the very end of story time, we are going to do a couple of our very favorite lap sit songs. We haven't done those in a really long time, so I thought it would be fun to do those today. So grown-ups, if you have a toddler or a baby, you can just put them on your lap when you do our lap sit songs. But bigger kids, if you want to go grab one of your favorite friends, I've got my favorite friend here, Sophie the Penguin, and she's going to be my lap sit partner. So when I count to 3, you can go grab one of your stuffies, all right? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go! All right, grown-ups, so while our littles are getting their favorite friends, we are going to talk about a literary tip of the day. When we show children how written words work, it helps them understand how books should be read. When children know how books and print works, the easier it is for them to learn to read. So when we get to our story today, I'm going to just show you some fun ways that when you are reading to your child at home, that you can teach them how books work, how print works, that we read left to right, things like that. All right, are my little friends back? All right, it looks like you're all back. All right. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to talk about our letter of the day. All right, so I got a big box of things, and I'm going to show you some items, and we'll see if you can guess what our letter of the day is. All right, so let's see what we got in here. Ooh, does anyone know what this is? That's right, it's a bucket. Good job. What is next? Oh my goodness. A bumblebee. You are right. All right, let's see. What else do we have? A basketball. And what is this? A butterfly. Good job. And our last thing, a blue block. That's right, a blue block. So let's see. Blue block, bucket, basketball. What do you think our letter of the day is? B. That's right. So here are some B's. So I brought a big B, or a capital B, and a little b, or an lowercase b. And these are our B's. So our letter of the day is a B. And your homework for today is going to be to get with your grown-up and walk around your house, go for a walk outside, and see what you can find that starts with the letter B. And then when you come home, you can practice writing your B's, your uppercase B and your lowercase B, and maybe draw a picture of something that starts with a B, something that you found. And then the next time you come into the library, you can share that with me, what you guys drew and found that starts with a B. All right. Well, I think we are ready to read our story, and I am so excited because I have not read to you guys in such a long time. So I am very, very excited. All right. So So this is the book that I brought for us to read today. But it looks funny. Looks like the picture's upside down. You're right. I'm holding it the wrong way. That's right. To read the book, I have to hold it this way, don't I? That's right. Yep. All right. So let's see. This is called Be You, and it is by Peter H. Reynolds. And I got permission to read this book for you, to you guys today from Scholastic. And so here we see Be You, Peter H. Reynolds. Looks like there's a little boy, and he has a bird on his hat. And bird, that's right, starts with B. All right. You were born to be so many things. There's a cute little baby. And my wish for you, no matter where your journey leads, is for you to always be you. Look how happy he looks. I really like that hat. Be ready. Be ready to take that next step toward being an amazing human being. Be curious. Turn every stone, ask every why, and keep digging deeply. Discover your own answers. Look what she found underneath her stone. A little worm. Be adventurous. Live a big life. When you are ready, step outside your comfort zone. Bravely explore new paths and see where they lead you. She looks like she's ready to go someplace fun. How fun is this picture? Be connected. Find kindred spirits. Be with those who make you feel like the real you. They look like they're having a lot of fun. Be persistent. Keep going. Never stop. Keep going. Never stop. Keep going. Never stop. Be different. Be silly. Be quirky. Be odd. Be unique. Be weird. Be colorful. And be okay with being different. Be just the way you are. I love her outfit. She's got some wings and a crown. And it looks like she's singing. Be kind. Be understanding. Help those around you to be themselves. And listen. And then listen some more. And learn more about who they are. So we should be kind and be understanding. I think that means to be a good friend. Oh my goodness. Be brave. Brave. That begins with a B. He looks nervous, doesn't he? Try new things. Take a deep breath and plunge forward into new experiences. It gets easier every time you try. You know, one thing Miss Heather has to be brave to do is to take things like this for you to watch. Makes me so nervous, but I'm being brave, so you be brave. Be your own thinker. Think for yourself and set your own unique course. It isn't always easy, but you'll be heading in the direction of you. So she's different, isn't she? Let's see. Be okay with being alone. Take time to be on your own. Hear your own thoughts, your inner voice, and listen to your heart. This one's a hard one to do. Be patient. It's hard to be patient sometimes. Being more you takes time. So take a deep breath, relax, and let your future unfold at its own pace. It will be worth the wait. Miss Heather has a hard time being patient sometimes. Be okay reaching out for help. When you need a helping hand, a compassionate ear, an encouraging word, reach out. As you voyage out into the world, remember, no matter what, You will always be loved. Look at all these goodies he has. You are ready. So go ahead. Be you. Be very, very you. That was a great book. Oh, I loved it. That was awesome. I hope you enjoyed that. All right, now let's have some fun. All right, let's sing some songs. So I'm going to get Sophie out here, and we are going to sing some songs that we haven't sang in a very long time. So the first one we're going to sing is one of our very favorite songs. We are going to sing Grand Old Duke of York. All right, so let's get our friends in our lap. Grown-ups, you can get your toddlers or your babies. These are fun songs to get your arm workouts. All right, here we go. Are you ready? All right, here we go. The Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He liked to march them up the hill and march them down again. And when they're up, they're up. And when they're down, they're down. And when they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down. Yay! Good job. All right, and the next one we're going to do is Roll, Roll, Sugar Babies. So this one is really fun too, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put Sophie over here because I like to clap. All right, so here we go. We're going to get our rollers out. So grown-ups, you can help your babies roll. Big kids, you can roll your hands. All right, it goes like this. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Up, down, clap, clap, clap. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Up, down, clap, clap, clap. All right, now I'm going to have you roll real high. Can you roll your arms high? Good job. And we're going to roll down low. Good job. And then my favorite one, we're going to roll fast, fast, fast. Oh, so fast. Good job. And then we roll slow. Good job. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Roll, roll, sugar babies. Up, down, clap, clap, clap. Good job. Okay, well, story time is just about over, but I cannot let you guys leave without doing our goodbye song. And I thought we were going to do our favorite goodbye song that we haven't done in forever. Sticky, sticky bubblegum. All right. So this one's really easy. If you don't know it, if you do, you will catch on. All right. So when your clappers out, show me your clappers. Good job. All right. Here we go. Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. 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 Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. Sticking my hands to my cheeks. My cheeks. Good job. 1, 2, 3, and stick. All right, do it again. Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. 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 Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. Sticking my hands to my elbows. Can you stick to your elbows? Good job. 1, 2, 3, and stick. All right, last one. Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. 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 Sticky, sticky, sticky bubblegum. Sticking my hands to my friends. Stick your friends. Good job. 1, 2, 3, and stick. Yay! All right, well, that is all we have today for story time. I'm so happy you guys joined us, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
who is our Indian rhino. Joya is 31 years old. He has been at the zoo since he was about 4. So as you can see, he is very rough skinned. So Indian rhinos do spend most of their time in the water. And he also is standing here because I'm touching him. Rhinos have very sensitive skin, and they love to be touched. So let's see if he'll play with us. I got some bananas for him. They are his favorite. He will do a lot for bananas. Okay, come here. Joya. He also is a large animal, so I can't force him to do anything. He has to choose to do what he wants. So we do a lot of enrichment with these guys. And as you can see, there's a tire down there that he likes to manipulate. I have a feed bag that I'm going to give him. And then he also has hanging enrichment that we regularly give them. So he's opening his mouth because he wants me to give him the banana right now. So we do have him trained to lift his head and then to open on command so that we can check his mouth. And also we throw food in there, which he really likes. Obviously right now I don't need to ask for it because he sees his bananas. So as you can see right here, Joya has a prehensile lip. So he uses this to grab leaves off of trees and to also in the water pull up aquatic plants because that would be most of his diet. Up. Open. Good boy. So Joy is pretty notorious. Most people kind of know him around the zoo since he has been here so long and he has such a personality. Now if you come here in the summer, he is going to be out in his pool and most likely you're only going to see his little ears sticking up. And most people think he's a hippo, but he's not. He's our rhino. So he has a flat horn. We often get asked if we trim or cut his horn. We did not. So rhinos actually self-maintenance their horn. So that means they choose what length they want to have it at, and they keep them that length. So he used to have a little bit bigger horn, and when he was sparring with his brother, he actually knocked it off, and then since then has just kept it short. All right, so one last thing I'm going to give him before we go talk to Uzazi is a paper bag. He loves paper bags. He'll take it and he'll push it around on the ground and play with it, and then eventually he will dunk it in his water, which is always fun to clean up later, but he enjoys it. All right, so let's go see if Uzazi wants to come talk to us. All right, so now we've moved over to look at Uzazi, our white rhino. Uzazi is 28 years old, and he has also been here since he was young. And as you can hear in the background, Joya got to his bag and is now going to make a whole bunch of noise. So I brought a sweet potato for Uzazi. He really likes them, and he likes to smash them. So that's one of the forms of enrichment we do. We do a lot of food enrichment because it's something new to them. It's something that they can manipulate. So he will smash that with his horn, and then he'll eat all the pieces. Good boy. So Uzazi has a much calmer demeanor than Joya does. He's pretty relaxed. He kind of likes to lounge around. He enjoys naps, especially outside. He loves to sleep in his sand. And overall, it's just kind of a little bit slower moving animal. That doesn't mean he can't move fast. Rhinos can actually run very fast. They walk on their tiptoes, which means they can turn on a dime, and they can also pick up speed very quickly. They're very impressive, especially when you see an animal that size moving that quickly. So you can see that he has 2 horns, and his are a little bit bigger. Naturally, white rhinos and black rhinos, their horns get much bigger than the Indian species do. And you can also see kind of the shape of it where he's been rubbing it down and shaping it himself. The other unique thing about white rhinos is their big, fat, wide lip. So that's actually where their name comes from. Most people think it's because of their color. It's not. There's a misinterpretation with the language because they originally were called the word for wide in Afrikaans down in South Africa. And people mistook that in English and started calling them white, and then that's kind of how it progressed into calling black rhinos black rhinos. So it's actually because of their wide lip. And that wide lip is great for grazing and keeping their head on the ground. You can see he has a very large head. So his head alone weighs about 500 pounds. And this big mass up here, this is all muscle. And he needs this to help keep his head up and to pull it up for grazing and for drinking and that kind of a thing. So that is just all muscle. So he can't lift his head super high. He can a little bit more than this, but not a lot, whereas Joya can lift it pretty much all the way. So they just have a little bit different dexterity. And you can see like their body shapes too. Ozzy is a little bit shorter, a little bit more round, kind of built a little bit more like a tank than Joya is. So difference in enrichment for like Joya, we like to give him things that kind of keep him busy, and he really likes tactile stuff he can rub on and feel. Uzazi likes things he can smash. So his favorite enrichment is things like barrels and boxes and bags because he just smashes them. So it's kind of difference in personality and also difference in like species of rhino. So I think that's it. Thanks again for tuning in to today's episode of Bring Me to You, and I'm Laura. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Kids Connection. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Karen Couch, the new Executive Director at the Salina Emergency Aid Food Bank. I want to personally thank the Salina community for their tremendous generosity during these trying times. Over the last several months, while donations from the grocery stores dropped by 75%, your monetary gifts have allowed us to purchase the food we need to keep our pantry stocked. Although we continue to run low on kitchen staples like sugar, cooking oil, and dish soap, we are finding ways to fill the grocery bags for hungry children and families in our community. In fact, each year the food bank distributes nearly 250,000 food items to more than 15,000 people. It wouldn't be possible without you, our neighbors and friends. That's why I want to invite you to join us at the food bank Thursday, July 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. for an ice cream social. So come stop in for a free scoop and a tour of the food bank, pandemic permitting. Call 785-827-7111 for more information or check us out on the website www.salinafood.org.
I grew up with two working parents, and their schedules didn't often align. So my brother and I would spend afternoons and long summer days at my grandparents' house. This was a place where you were sure to put things back where they belonged and didn't leave objects out on the floor. It wasn't because my grandparents were strict. My grandmother, Josie, was blind. And if we messed with that order and didn't put things back where they belonged, confusion, frustration, or even physical harm. I remember as a kid trying to understand what it would be like to navigate spaces without my sense of sight. I would close my eyes real tight, and I would try to remember the way my grandparents' living room looked. I'd walk with my small hands outstretched in front of me until I ran into a chair, and then a lamp, and then the wall. It was in that moment that I was in awe of her. Now, on the occasion that my brother and I would be spending the entire day at my grandparents' house, we would bring along our VHS tapes, pre-DVD or streaming service. And many, if not all of those tapes, were Disney movies. We were American children of the late 80s, early 90s. Okay? We would sit on that bright red carpet, staring up at their large TV, housed in an even larger entertainment center. And in between preparing meals, my grandmother would come in, and she'd sit down in her recliner, and she'd say, "Tell me about your stories," referencing the action taking place on the screen. Aladdin was one of our favorites to enjoy together. I would describe the desert backgrounds, the clothing on the characters, the expressions on their faces. I can recall her smile as I described a whole new world in that magic carpet ride through the clouds. I wanted her to feel included, to be a part of what we were watching. And those thoughts were a response to my feelings of empathy. I had this unique childhood where I was learning about empathy through my relationship with my grandmother, through our watching of Disney movies. But I know not everyone has an experience like that. But I believe that it is important and crucial that we provide our children with opportunities to have relationships that foster empathetic connections. Now, as a quick aside, I know the word empathy comes with its own baggage. Maybe in your circles it's a word that's thrown around so much that you're sick of hearing about it, or it's lost its meaning altogether, or maybe you've heard it said that empathy is a soft skill that needs to be shared with our students. I attest that there's nothing soft or mushy about it. Instead, it is a critical skill to be honed as we learn what it means to be human. I'm an elementary art educator. I teach my students about artists, culture, and the purposeful use of art materials. But I also see it as my role to engage them in conversations about character education, and specifically empathy. But how do we often define empathy to our youngest children? Think about it. Oftentimes you might use the walk in someone else's shoes. Sure, that works as a metaphor, but now I want you to put yourself in the mind of a kindergartner. A kindergartner that might go, "Why am I putting on someone else's shoes?" That is weird to them. They don't understand the language we're using for this really important topic. And even a simplified definition, such as understanding and sharing the feelings of others, is really hard to internalize as a 5-year-old. So instead, very purposeful conversations about practical, observable behaviors is necessary. How do I show empathy in the classroom? At the park with my friends, to my grandmother, to someone that looks differently than me, to someone that acts differently than me. A year ago, I was sitting around with my colleagues at school, and we were talking about character education. We were developing a school-wide curriculum, and we went around and around about definitions and explanations, and then one summer night, it hit those of us in the room. Our eyes were open to the fact that the root of empathy lies in awareness. Awareness, a noticing of what is happening in and around you so that you can make a choice. You can have a response, have an empathetic response. But first, we have to have an awareness of ourselves. I'm the grocery shopper in our family. I take my list and enjoy the thrill of the hunt as I try to stay below budget, which I mostly do. And one week I was notified that we needed new napkins. And I came upon these illustrated beauties. They're conversation napkins. And we got a real kick out of them as we went around the table. Every night we would go around at dinner time and answer them and have fun and laugh together. But it really got me thinking about a very purposeful teaching opportunity I had with my own family. And so I thought, we oftentimes talk about our feelings. I'm happy, I'm sad. But do we spend time together talking about why we feel that way. And so I've gotten into the practice of asking my 5-year-old daughter about her day at school in this way. I say, tell me about a part of your day when you were proud. Tell me about a part of your day when you were frustrated. Tell me about a part of your day when you were really excited. Different nights, I may ask about a different emotion, a different feeling. My favorite, tell me about a part of your day where you laughed so hard you fell on the floor. And I'm also sure, as the adult, to tell her that I, too, in that day, had moments where I was scared, and moments that I was proud, and definitely moments where I laughed so hard that I fell on the floor. But you see, she's quick. She's real quick. And one day, I said, tell me about a part of your day when you were sad. And she said, well, I wasn't sad, but my friend Ellie was sad when she didn't get to play with the magnetiles. See, the observed behaviors and feelings of others have become a part of who she is as a person and as a friend. And it all leads us to having an awareness of others. I was teaching a unit on architecture when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston. And it was to my 4th graders. And I had several 4th grade students come to class asking questions about how this natural disaster would affect the buildings in the city. And they were asking these questions. They led us to other conversations. And soon we were talking about how the elements would affect the lives of the people there. Soon the whole class was in conversation. And I sat back and listened as I watched them turn the story into about the art room of the students in Houston, and watching them almost see themselves in that place, to then begin having conversations about what would happen to the art supplies and the furniture and all of the artwork that they had spent their time on. As I listened, I wanted to provide them with another opportunity, a way to artistically process the thoughts and the feelings that they had. So what I did is I introduced them to 2 artists that cover items and rooms and actual houses with polka dots. What these artists are doing are talking about our unity, about trauma, about community. And as a result, we created this 5-foot-tall house structure. Now, there's a lot more here than just playful polka dots. Each of those dots represents an art supply that a 4th grade student donated to a school in Houston. See, it wasn't health supplies or food, but it was art supplies. It had become very real to them. The idea that our room, our art room, is a safe place where they learn about themselves, about community, about the world, all while having fun. And the idea that there would be children in Houston that maybe miss out on those opportunities really resonated with them. It became real to them. See, these thoughts, these feelings of empathy led to practical practice. Their awareness led to practical practice. I no longer sit on the floor in front of my grandmother watching Disney movies. Those days are long gone. But now, I sit on the floor next to my 5-year-old daughter, also named Josie. We watch as Aladdin and Jasmine take flight on the magic carpet. And there's this moment where the carpet takes a deep dive, and Princess Jasmine braces herself in fear by covering her eyes with her hands. And as she does so on the screen, so does my 5-year-old daughter. She is experiencing